Greetings, this is Doc Ock coming to you live and direct from Black Facts Headquarters Central with another installment of Doc Ock at noon and 9. You know what time it is. It's 9 o'clock. And we about to go ahead and tick one off right about now. We're going to do a little tick-tock from the Doc Ock. So, you know what to do. Don't forget, while you're sitting there watching and enjoying, go ahead and give us a like or a thumbs up if you're watching on YouTube, and then go ahead and sign up on the Tubular Black Facts channel. Thank you very much. Meanwhile, let's see what we got here today for a proverb. Proverb of the day. Proverb of the day. Oh yeah, this one here. Asiye sikia la mkuu huvunjika guu. Asiyesikia la mkuu huvunjika guu. He who does not heed the chief's advice breaks his leg or his foot, either way. So, don't ignore good advice, whatever you do. And of course, you know the story for tonight. We are continuing with the story of Ona Judge. And we're at the part now where Ona has escaped. Not only has she escaped, she's living large up there in New Hampshire, the state that has the motto, live free or die. That's the motto for the state of New Hampshire. So, she's living large up there, but she just ran into somebody that knows her and knows that she has escaped from the clutches of George and Martha Washington. And they have a reward out for her return. So when George and Martha here, you know what goes down. But let's see how it all works out for Ona, the lawbreaker. George had a lot going on when he returned from Mount Vernon in August 1796. A lot going on besides his effort to capture his runaway slave, Ona Judge. Most important, he had to tell the citizens of the U.S. that he had decided to retire. He had originally written a farewell address with the help of James Madison in 1792 when he thought he would retire after one term. Now, after 2 terms, he asked his friend Alexander Hamilton to help him compose the news. On September 19, 1796, the Philadelphia newspaper Claypool's American Daily Advertiser printed George Washington's official announcement. Attention turned to politics and who was going to take George's place as president. George and Martha were free to plan for their return to Mount Vernon. Ona had complicated this return, though. Even without the internet, if George Washington got caught up in a public battle to capture a young female slave over slavery, everyone would hear about it. The country's battle over slavery was getting worse, not better. In his mind, he had spent his entire life in public service and did not want to ruin that reputation by getting in the middle of the slavery question, which had thwarted the country from its very beginning. At the same time, George was really mad. Martha was out of her mind. Nobody around to comb her hair. You know the girl was upset. This was the second time in 1 year that a young woman had upended their lives. First, their granddaughter, Eliza Custis Law, and now Ona. But Eliza was always unpredictable. Moreover, she had only gotten married. Ona had humiliated them. Totally, public humiliation. Runaways reminded Americans that slaves were people, not simply property, even if they worked for the president and were able to wear nicer clothes. Ona's very escape proved that the idea of a benevolent slave owner was a lie. Speaking of them lies. Enslavement was never preferable over freedom. Even if you got to wear some pretty gowns, play dress up every now and then. Even with the law on his side, if George pursued Ona, he would create a huge public relations problem. Attitudes in the U.S. had continued to change during the 7 years since he'd become president. The changes weren't even all related to slavery. In 1787, for example, after the Constitution had been approved, those people who favored a strong central government had won. This group of people had become known as the Federalists. George Washington was never a formal member of this party, but certainly he had supported a stronger central government, along with Alexander Hamilton, John Adams, and New Hampshire Senator John Langdon. By George's second term, a group of people who called themselves anti-federalists argued that it had been wrong to make a strong federal government and that they wanted to put more power in the control of the individual states. Back to the states' rights question they keep talking about. Thomas Jefferson and James Madison were a part of this group. Many other political leaders were changing their minds, including John Langdon. At the same time, slavery was still a crucial issue that had not been figured out. Generally speaking, the North wanted slavery to be abolished, and the South did not. Ona's escape had placed George in a difficult position. Even though he felt that he had been badly treated by a freckle-faced, bushy-haired, nappy-headed young black woman, if he pursued Ona, he would risk a public battle. On the other hand, if he didn't try to capture her, she'd punk him out. That's what he thought. He could look like the punk. So George's anger was a matter of pride. Because of Ona, the Washingtons had already clamped down on the number of slaves returning to Philadelphia after the summer in Mount Vernon. Only 2 slaves were permitted to accompany George and Martha. Ooh, only 2 were permitted. Ooh, oh wow. Permitted, like it was some kind of vacation or something for them. The now almost 57-year-old babysitter and Joe Richardson, a new postilion to replace Paris and Giles. Now remember, a postilion is somebody who gets to drive the horses for the carriage, but doesn't get to sit under any kind of cover. So no matter what the weather is, he's sitting out there on them horses, okay, driving them horses. So not exactly like a plush job, I wouldn't say. But at any rate, otherwise, and a new postilion to replace Paris and Giles. Otherwise, the Washingtons used northern white servants. Say what? They hired white folks to take the place of the slaves, and I guess they had to pay them. Bet that put a hurt on their economy. This put Martha on edge. None of the replacements seemed to be as efficient as her previous staff. I guess not. I guess not. Especially Ona. None of them could anticipate her moods or calm her down when she was upset. Martha seethed that Ona had left her. She took it personally. George, the most powerful man in America, was a devoted husband. It was pretty simple. Martha wanted Ona back. Pure and simple. George needed to get her back. Still, he took his time to figure out a plan. His first decision was that Ona's escape was not only his problem, it was also the government's problem. She had run away when he was president. Therefore, he reasoned he was allowed to involve various government officials in her capture. He approached the Secretary of the Treasury, Oliver Wolcott Jr., about his situation. Oliver agreed to help. George sat down the next day to write to Oliver about Ona and getting her back to Virginia. The more he wrote, the angrier he became. In his mind, they had treated Ona like their own child. Right. She had lived with him in 3 presidents' homes. not just one. Ona knew everything about his and Martha's personal life. They'd even shared a bedroom door. With each word he wrote, his fingers moved faster across the page, his anger matching his intensity. George told Oliver about his suspicion that the real reason Ona had left his household was because she had fallen in love with someone, a Frenchman to be specific, who had then abandoned her. None of this was true. The problem was that in George's quest to understand Ona's escape, he'd fallen back on a wrong-headed assessment of women. Rather than accepting the immorality of slavery, in his opinion, women were not as smart as men, and black women were even less smart than that. They were emotional wrecks. Ona was just not clever or capable enough to have done all this herself. The Frenchman had lured her away, and now probably Ona was alone on the streets begging. Like the girl didn't have no skills. What choice did he have, George wrote, but to track her down? Ona was in danger. Danger, danger, stranger, danger. He then suggested to Oliver how he thought the apprehension of Ona Judge should be completed. First, Oliver should contact the customs officer in Portsmouth, a man named Joseph Whipple. Joseph would act as George's spy, finding out where Ona was and what she was up to. Then George instructed Joseph should find her and put her on board a vessel bound immediately to his place or to Alexandria, which I should like better. Remember the phrase called due process in the Constitution, and remember the Fugitive Slave Act that George Washington himself had signed into law. Since Ona was a fugitive, the law said that if she was found, the slave owner must bring the fugitive in front of a judge. That's right. He was going to have to go to court in the state to which she had escaped. In other words, New Hampshire. And the slave owner must provide proof of his ownership before he could take the slave with him out of the state. Ona did not have many rights, but she did have at least this one. If George wanted her back, she was supposed to receive due process and be able to go in front of a New Hampshire judge. George had no intention of bringing Ona in front of no judge. He himself had no intention of going in front of any judge. Sound familiar? It should. George Washington was, in other words, breaking his own law. And he was asking Oliver Wolcott and Joseph Whipple to break the law too. In his letter, George assured Oliver that his suggestions would prove the safest and least expensive. And not coincidentally, he added that Joseph would be compensated for any and all costs associated with the capture and return of his fugitive slave, along with earning the abundant appreciation of George Washington himself, who wouldn't want to be in the good graces of the president, the most respected man in America, even if it meant breaking the law. It turned out that Joseph Whipple did not. Well. And the plot thickens. More tomorrow night when we read from chapter 21. Oh yeah, we're getting there. Yep, slowly but surely. Haraka, hyena, baraka. That's right. We're going to take our time and do it right. We're not going to hurry and miss our blessings. You know what I'm talking about. All right. So, y'all know what time it is. And you know what you need to do right about now. All you little children out there, I need you to take your little head and put it on your little pillow on your little bed. Close those your eyes and wait for that big old sun to rise. And when you see that big yellow ball coming up over the hill, beaming those sunbeams down on your eyes, that's when you know that it's time to rise and shine, because a new day has dawned, and it will be just as divine as the one we just spent today. And as for you adults, if you don't mind, we'd really appreciate it if you could give us a like and a thumbs up. And then go ahead and subscribe to the Tubular Black Facts channel. And don't forget to invite your friends and your family. Please do that as well. And last but not least, we are still looking for some donations so that we can continue the good works here in the Crosby Archives, because we've got information galore. I just discovered a whole cache of information I didn't even realize we had. We're going through, digging deep into the archives, no telling what we might find in the archives. But in the meanwhile, we like for you to continue to give us your undying support. Thank you so much. This is Doc Ock signing off. We'll be back tomorrow with a special presentation in the noontime. So look for it then. We tried to do something today, didn't work out for us. So tomorrow we're going to do something a little different. But it'll be good. It'll be a surprise, but it will relate to Emancipation Day. And then next week, we're going to move on to a new holiday. Oh yes, we got one more holiday we want to feature before the end of the month. So stick with us, hang in there, and there's no doubt that you will gain without any pain. Peace out now.